Greetings all true believers and welcome to Covenant Canon. In our last video I went over the Arbiter Thal Vadam. However, in this week's video I'm going to be doing... sorry about that guys, I gotta take this. It's for my manager. He's finding a new assistant for me.
San'Shyuum Reformist.
Great news everyone, I finally got a new assistant after Duras, retired. He's one of the Arbiter soldiers, and here he is right now. Care to introduce yourself?
San'Shyuum Reformist. Awopumi awomupu kushwifa pawomapersu. Shwimazu. Rozuzu. Kupamusha uzuza. Wukiosh. Where? Zuppermi kambu kupkawasi. Chweku kambu chwipshaups. Ayamam kambu Sangheili.
Great, now I gotta teach this guy English. But enough about that, let's begin. Today I'll be starting the history of the Covenant Empire from its foundation to its collapse. Today I'll be starting with the War of Beginnings. With that in mind, let's begin. Everyone, this is Covenant Canon. The War of Beginnings was an interstellar conflict set between the Sangheili and San'Shyuum over religious and technological differences. After leaving their homeworld of Jar Jar Qom in 2100 BCE, the reformist San'Shyuum encountered the Sangheili in 938 BCE, who had also experience with former technology. First contact between the two species occurred in a Sangheili colonized system on a world that contained former artifacts. The San'Shyuum believed that incorporating former technology was allowed by their religion. To the Sangheili, such a thing would have been an unthinkable heresy. The San'Shyuum attempted diplomacy with the Sangheili, as they sent delegation on the frontier world of Olgathon to explain that they too worshipped the Forerunners. The Sangheili prompted by executing this delegation, thus beginning the hostilities. During the combat, the Sangheili had an early advantage, with each warrior capable and skilled to several San'Shyuum in battle. However, the San'Shyuum's technological superiority and their possession of the Forerunner Dreadnought mean that they had a tremendous advantage in space battles, using the Dreadnought in a great effort to devastate hit-and-run strikes against Sangheili war fleets. The San'Shyuum were successful in driving the Sangheili away from their interstellar colonies, while obliterating many Sangheili by appropriating Forerunner relics. The Sangheili were devastated by the lack of honor that the war brought, and they were forced to continuously retreat as the San'Shyuum came closer and closer to Sanghelios. Eventually, in 876 BCE, in order to ensure the survival of their race, an underground movement of Sangheili scientists covertly began studying their relics and incorporating elements into their warships, weapons, and armor designs. Soon, the group of underground scientists emerged and declared their sins, and the Sangheili were forced to amend their position of their treatment of former technologies to survive. The scientists were allowed to live, and their discoveries were put to use by incorporating them into new weapons and fleets of warships. The Sangheili began to hold their position, and they did not give up any territory to the San'Shyuum, though the Dreadnought continued heavily damaged the Sangheili military. Occasionally, the Sangheili gained ground by employing hit-and-run tactics with slip space before the Dreadnought could destroy their ships. The San'Shyuum soon began to realize that if there were other races with martial capabilities like the Sangheili, they would be in serious danger. The war eventually led to a skirmish on the planet of Blue and Red in 860 BC. The planet's location made a strategic importance to the Sangheili. However, the San'Shyuum decided to take control of the world for the numerous foreign relics it had. The San'Shyuum forces were led by Imkanskraaben, the High Lord of Sacred Relics, while the Sangheili were led by Usa Zealous. This skirmish would end in a stalemate, with neither side controlling the planet and its many former relics. The war was eventually brought to the elite homeworld of Sanghelios. The San'Shyuum and Sangheili both fought for possession of numerous former relics on the surface of the planet. The state of Adam was one of many Sangheili city-states attacked by the reformers during the battle. However, the keep's well-defended position in the Kolar Mountains prevented it from being destroyed by the reformists. The San'Shyuum-Sangheili war soon led to a stalemate. The San'Shyuum realized that they were unable to be victorious in the war with only one ship and a small population. They soon turned to the Sangheili and proposed the Writ of Union. In time, the Sangheili learned of the San'Shyuum belief in the Great Journey, where the Forerunners used the halo array to ascend to a godlike state, and wished to repeat this process on themselves. Coupled with this belief and the fact that the cause of the war was obsolete, the Sangheili agreed to unite with the San'Shyuum into an alliance to avoid mutual extinction. In 852 BCE, the two races signed a treaty known as the Writ of Union and formed the early Covenant Empire, which defined the two races' positions. The San'Shyuum would act as the religious leaders, studying forerunner relics and seeking out the halos, while the Sangheili would serve as their military leaders. While most Sangheili joined the new covenant, there were those who resented what they viewed as a submission to the San'Shyuum. The covenant sought to make an example of these dissenters, silencing those who reject their new union with overwhelming force. An incarnation of the Sword Sanghelios formed at this time to bring any holdouts to the Writ of Union to heel. Also, a resistance movement that would come to be led by a Sangheili known as Usa Zealous, a skilled veteran from the war. However, he was driven off Sangheili to the Forerunner shield world known as the Refuge. However, despite these small insurgencies, the Writ of Union would bind the Covenant Empire for thousands of years as it incorporated numerous species within their homogeny. This lasted until the High Prophet of Truth sparked the Great Schism in 2552 and broke this once mighty empire. Well guys, that does it for today. Next week I'll be going over the taming of the Letgolo. As always, if you like what you saw here, please hit like and subscribe. This has been Covenant Canon.